Hello, today we're going to go over how to use the Google Analytics 4 connector. Now, some back history is Google Analytics used to be called Google Analytics Universal, and that gave us a lot of really good stuff. But now we're going to use Google Analytics 4. They upgraded, and it's much better. And if you are used to using Google Analytics, you have pre-built reports that come out, and that's fine. But I would suggest that the custom reports are much better out of Google Analytics because you can have different breakdowns. So what's really good about Domo is Domo hooks in directly to the API to Google Analytics. So you can actually pull way more granular stuff than some of the Google Analytics reports that are just pre-built and out of the box. So I think it's a fantastic feature. It's helped me out with a lot of things before. We're going to go to data at the top, hit connectors, this cloud icon thing. We're going to type in Google Analytics. There we go. Now you can see here we have Google Analytics 4, we have Analytics Advanced, all these other types of connectors. This one, Google Analytics Advanced connector, that was the old one, the universal one, which you don't really want to use anymore. We have Google Analytics 4. That's the one that we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to hit this orange button. Now it's going to ask you to select an account. If you have not done so, go ahead and add your account. All you're going to have to do is you're going to have to sign in and allow Domo to have access to Google Analytics. Once you do that, come back here. If you've already done it, let's continue. I'm going to select an account, hit next. Now, the first thing you're going to be asked is what property do you want? What a property is think about it as a different domain or a website. You might have your personal one that you have. You might have your work one. You might have, even if your work one, you might have maybe your work has 3 different subsidies underneath it. You might have those all there, right? I would highly suggest you only pick one property. If you pull in everything, you might have some data in there that you just don't want people to see. So just pick one property. Remember, you can do this connection again and again and again and again and again. You don't need to do it all in one shot. So I'm going to say specific property. And then what you're going to be asked for is a view. Now, what a view is essentially, think about it like a version of the website, for a lack of better term to explain what this is. You might have stuff in a staging environment. Staging environment means you're just testing it out. So you have traffic going to that staging, that test. You might be on it. You might be fiddling around. And what you don't want is you don't want to count those sessions, those hours spent on the website to be total real traffic, because it's not. It's fake. It's been you testing things out. So you might want to not pick staging, or you might have different websites that are for different countries, stuff like that. So you might want to be careful about the views that you pick. I'm going to pick mine, this one right here, and I only have one. Well, what if you don't have multiple views? No problem. That's a good news. So I have GA4. That's what I'm going to pick for mine. That tells me this is my published site. This is what I want to pick. We're going to go for it. All right, let's go down. So we have custom report right here, and I want you to actually look here on the left. We have a blue number 0 out of 10 for metrics and a 0 out of 9 for dimensions. What is this thing? So some people erroneously believe that the Domo connector is hitting Google Analytics and can bring every single thing back. We don't want to do that. That would be like asking, hey, what do you want from the grocery store? Give me one of everything. That would be just intense, way too crazy. What this is this is basically a grocery cart that we can say, I need this. And I can come back and do another one and do it again with this. I could pick different things. So we have to be cognizant about the number of metrics we're picking, which is just numbers, and the number of dimensions we're picking. And dimensions could be text, it could be dates, stuff like that. So let's go through the list. First, I want you just to see what attribution is. An attribution, a common one that I will use will be campaign, default channel group. A campaign name, by the way, is just the name of a campaign, like a marketing campaign. Default channel group, this will be items such as email, organic, direct, paid, social, stuff like that. So we can know where's traffic coming from. I'm going to pick that one. That's one that I usually get quite often. You can see what we also had here is Google Ads accounts names, Google Ads campaigns, a lot of things that are put in here. It's fine. Another one that I will really use a lot is source medium. What a source medium is a source medium will, for instance, say, this was Google and this was paid. This was Google and this was organic. Or this is organic and this was the article that it came from. Stuff like that. So that's what this is. This is usually a very, very helpful one. Let's go to demographics. In demographics, this is pretty self-explanatory. You can do a breakdown by age, gender, interests, if you really want to. E-commerce, here is where you can find some metrics you might really care about. Number of checkouts that happen, gross purchase revenue, item revenue. Okay, one thing you need to know is we have a lot of different types of revenue. We have purchase revenue, we have gross revenue, we have item revenue. We have a lot of different types. So what this stuff is in purchase revenue, that might include items such as shipping and tax. Maybe you want it, maybe you don't. Item revenue might just be how much was the revenue for an item if you're doing an e-commerce play. Okay, if you want it. And transactions is where you're going to find orders. That's what you want to get. Okay, cool. I'm not going to pick those for me right now. If we go to events. So a conversion, this is very important to know. A conversion can be whatever you define it in Google Analytics. You have to do all that stuff in Google Analytics, not in Domo. Conversion could be, for instance, I just want to collect an email address. I want somebody to actually buy something. I want somebody to click a page. Whatever you want that to be, you can pull that in. But what we can do is we can do a dimension. Give me the event name. So that will be like a click to this thing, a purchase, email submission, a form lead, whatever. And I'm going to do conversions and event count. Cool. That's what I have in there. Okay, let's go to event scope custom. This is if you have some custom events that you might do. So ones that are not straight out of the box. This is a little bit more advanced, but if you have it, here's where you can pick it. Geography. Okay, this one is very important. We have city, continent, country. Region means state. In the US, that's what a region is, US state. Internationally, it will be like a province, stuff like Canada. Those states will be regions. That's where you want to get it. Okay, just so you know. Other. Here are these different metrics we have, like ad clicks, all these other pieces in here. I don't really use this that much, but it's there if you need it. Okay, page. This is pretty good. Well, you could do a page, landing page. You could say, hey, what landing page did they go to for sessions that we're going to look at? Hey, what's the page path? Where did they go on that string of pages? So we can see that information there. Again, you don't want to mix too much. You can do multiple runs of this. You don't have to do it all in one shot. Platform, this is pretty self-explanatory. You can pick a device if you want to. You can pick a browser if you need it. All these pieces in here. Publisher, I don't really use this one a lot, but you get it. If you're doing an ad, what's the format? Where's it coming from? All that stuff. Revenue, you have this total revenue. So this is something you might want to check. We have revenue here, total revenue, but you also have revenue up here in e-commerce. So what's the difference? Well, e-commerce up here, this assumes revenue, like item revenue, that you're selling a good online. You're selling shampoo or you're selling whatever online. Total revenue right here, this could be right there. That's the word I was looking for. Subscription stuff. Maybe you're selling a service. Maybe you're an accounting agency. You don't sell a tangible good. You might want to pick total revenue instead of gross revenue up above in the e-commerce play. Okay. Sure. Why not? I'm going to go to sessions. This one I use quite a bit. I'm going to pick session here. And I want to also pick engage sessions. Okay. So I'm going to give you a little pro tip. A little pro tip is bounce rates and average session duration. This is going to give you the average of something. We need to kind of do some reverse engineering, because what you can't do is if you have a bounce rate of 80% one day and the next day it's 40%, you can't just average those things. That's not accurate. You have to do something called the weighted average. So what you want to do, I'm just going to speak very, very technically here. You want to take the bounce rate, do some reverse engineering math to say, hey, my bounce rate is this, my sessions is this, so this is how many bounces I have. We'll do that in an ETL. That's what you get the number of bounces. Then you can recalculate the bounce rate. Same thing with average session duration. It's going to tell you the average, but you want to take sessions to find the total duration and then redo the average. It's an aggregated calculation. I know it sounds pretty technical. If you understand what I was saying, you get it. If not, don't worry about it. We can address that later. Okay, time. This is a very important one. Date. I'm going to pick date because I want to know the breakdown by date, or do I want to know it by month, by minute, by hour? I think date for me is good enough. Traffic source. Here's where we can do some attribution stuff. What was the first source medium? What was the last source medium, if we care about it? So we have all these different pieces here. We have session, default channel group. This is mainly just for session, so I'll pick that one too. And then user. User, we have total users, we have new users. I'll pick those two. So I'm at 9 metrics, I'm at dimension. So you can have a look, play around, you can see what we got here. And lifetime, I don't really pick that one. Now, date range, we got a couple options here. You can do a specific date range where you could say, I want from this date to this date. The problem is that this is going to be just hard coded in. So if you say, I want Jan 1, 2017 up until Jan 1, 2017, it's hard coded. Somebody has to go in here again and change the date again and again and again and again. And I don't want to do that. The one that I would prefer is a rolling window. So you could say, hey, go give me continuously the last 365 days, go give me the last 730 days, whatever you want it to be. We'll say 365 for now. That's fine with me. All right, let's go down to metric filters. Now we have a metric filter, we have a dimension filter. And let me show you what this is. It's pretty easy. So we're going to go here. We're going to say use filter builder. Why not? And we'll say a single filter. And because metrics are usually numbers, we're going to say a numeric filter. And here I could do something like this. I could say I only want data where, I don't know, my checkouts are greater than 0, whatever. So now I'm limiting how much data I pull through. You could also do a dimension filter. So what I could do here is I could say use filter builder again, single filter, and we're going to do this as string because a dimension is usually a word. And here I'm going to pick default channel group, for instance, and I could say that it has to be direct or it has to be organic, whatever. So what I just did right now, if I choose to use this is saying, go give me only data where there's a checkout that at least happened and where it was from SEO or organic search. Okay. I'm not going to pick this right now because I don't want to, but it's an option if you want to do it that way. Okie dokie. And then here, don't worry about this advanced setting for now. You're good. Okay, I'm going to hit next. And remember, what we have here is we have our schedule. We can say run it every day, run it every hour, every 15 minutes. You can choose what time zone. On the left-hand side is British time, UTC. I'm in Chicago, so I'm going to pick the right-hand side. I'm going to pick this one for me, for instance. And I'm going to say next. And here, I'm going to use this naming convention. Again, you do not need to do this, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to say Domo Learning, source, Google Analytics, and we are going to say website data. Okay, save and run. Hey, so there's one thing I want to go over just in case you're getting some error messages. Now, one thing with Google Analytics is you might not be able to enter all the data you need in one shot. You might have to do a couple different data pulls. So for instance, you might need to go get website stuff as its own thing, revenue stuff as its own thing, new users as their own thing. The reason is because sometimes this is a Google Analytics thing, not a Domo thing, is the metrics don't play well together. Okay. So for instance, if you're trying to say, show me revenue by default channel and sessions by default channel and by state, they just don't work well together because you might not have revenue broken down by default channel and by state. So how do we know if we're doing a good job? Well, there's actually a site for this. If you go to ga-dev-tools.google, you could use this thing called Query Explorer. And Query Explorer is very similar to the Explorer tool out of GA4. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you an example. I have mine already connected, whatever. I could say I want this date yesterday, and I could put in something like sessions. Now, check this out. If I put sessions and revenue, and let's say I want it by date, and I'm going to put in purchase revenue. Why not? And here I have it sorted by sessions. I have a mention of a date, time, cool, whatever. Make requests. Let's go hit it. Let's see what happens. I have some purchase revenue and there are some sessions. Okay, so we know that one works. Let's go do another one though. Let's do another revenue. Let's do gross item revenue maybe. Let's see if this one works. My voice just got high for some reason. Make a request. Boom. So there I know that gross item revenue does not play well with sessions. And I know the one that I need to use is actually the purchase revenue or maybe the gross purchase revenue. Anyway, it's a little thing to help you. So let's get back to the ETL. Let's see if it ran correctly and we'll move from there. But this little tool, ga-dev-tools.google, will help you out a lot to just make sure you're pulling in the right stuff. All right. Okay, a little word of advice. If this is the first time that you're doing this pool for this Google Analytics 4 job, it's going to take a while. So you could see this one ran for about 15 minutes, but it's it's not going to run 15 minutes every single time. Just the initial one takes a long time. Then after that, it updates pretty frequently. Okay, let's take a look at some of this data. What did we get? So we have dates in here. Awesome. We have the count of new users. We have the count of conversions, sessions. We have total users, average session duration. So I told you want to do some reverse engineering math there. Cool. We have event counts, beautiful bounce rates, all this stuff, and event name. So this is where this is very important. Take a look at this, right? I can see, hey, maybe I want to know who did certain events. How many were, let's do that first user one. That's pretty cool. Actually, this one, invitee meeting scheduled. Cool. This is an event that happened. That was some type of conversion event that I wanted. And those are the counts that happen by date. That's what we have there. We also happen to have under session default channel group, different types of sessions, or sorry, types of channels that we have. I'm going to take this off real quickly. There we go. These are the ones we're used to seeing: direct display, organic social, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we have that. Cool. We have some stuff coming through. That is how to use the Google Analytics 4 connector. And there's a lot that you can do with it, a bunch of stuff that you can do. Anyway, good luck to you, and I hope it works out well for you.